Hey, what's going on, Trojan family? Welcome back to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. Thank you, as always, for making this a part of your day, your number one source for USC Trojans news. More murmurs along the recruiting trail. Big news, USC's been going after, we talked about it last week, before the official visit weekend, 4-star edge Luke Wafle. He is the 10th ranked edge according to On3 industry rankings. Had a basketball player as well, just giving him a little bit more of that athleticism, that bend, that wiggle from the edge position, from the defensive end position. And it's trending well for USC. So I wanted to jump on here after the Talanoa Ely commitment and kind of talk about what that commitment looks like in terms of what's next for USC. And it looks certainly like Luke Wafle could be the next domino to fall. Our good friend, USCJ, he runs his own channel. It's USCJ, Lost in the Sauce podcast. You can look it up on YouTube, but he's a tremendous USC voice, just a great human being. He dropped, I think it was actually yesterday, he put out a crystal ball prediction that Luke Wafle would end up at USC. For those that don't know, Jay's actually really connected dude. Has great relationships with a lot of the families around the team and whatnot. So the dude's not just making things up. He actually has a lot of insight and knowledge around the program. So I take actually a lot of stock in him saying that. Plus, I myself have done some digging, which I'll share in a minute. But after that, Steve Wiltfong of On3 put out one of his big kind of recruiting intel across the nation. So it wasn't just USC specific, but had a little blurb in his talking about how after this weekend, USC may now be the leader for Luke Wafle. When originally it looked like Penn State, Ohio State, Texas were all kind of the leaders. USC was kind of the dark horse behind. After this weekend, Wiltfong is saying that USC may actually now be in the pole position. Now, I've done some talking as well, and I will just say things are trending well. I'm not going to sit here and say for sure, but it certainly was a fantastic visit. As I talked about last week before the visit, USC was very strategic in the sense of having Luke Wafle as the only non-commit on official visit with 8 other commits. When you look at Jonas Williams, quarterback, when you look at Eason Tafa, you can go down the list, but 8 already committed guys with the 1 non-commit. I mean, you're kind of letting your commits do the work for you. Obviously, they're doing a ton too, the coaches are. But all the commits, the culture that we see in this 26 class being built, now they're able to surround themselves around Waffle and say, hey, dude, you got to be a part of this. Look what we're building. This is special. Look how fun we're having. Look at SoCal. Look at all the stuff we can do together. Come out west and be a part of something special. So it was strategic in that regard. We'll see if it officially paid off. Now, as of now, he has an official visit scheduled this coming weekend for Texas. Now, I would not be shocked if he ends up canceling. Now, if he committed to SC, we know that a cancellation is coming because of USC's policy. Once you commit, that's it. No more visits. So if it comes out right after this video comes out or whatever that he cancels, then I think that's a pretty big indication that he did ultimately commit to USC. But on the surface, too, we can look at, when you look at different stuff going on around recruiting, there was another highly touted edge, 5-star edge, Trenton Henderson, who was scheduled to visit USC this weekend, along with KJ Ford. Just this morning, Trenton Henderson announced that he had canceled his visit with USC, and shortly after that, he's now taking an official visit to Texas. So, to me, just kind of reading between the lines, that tells me that either, and again, this is just me reading between the lines. No one's told me this straight up, so don't take it for face value. But that either Luke Wafle did indeed give a verbal to USC and will be announcing shortly. And so USC said to Trenton Henderson, hey, we just filled our last spot. We're moving forward. Go ahead. Best of luck in your recruiting. If it wasn't quite to that level yet, it still makes me believe that USC feels very strongly about where they stand with Luke Wafle. Maybe they didn't officially get a commitment yet, but feel really good about it. And so still told Trent Henderson, like, hey, we feel good about what's coming. We still have, I'm not saying they said this, but they still, as of now, have KJ Ford coming out as well. He was kind of waffling anyway, no pun intended, on some other schools now since he's been away from USC since his unofficial visit. So, it feels like your best interest is to just hone in on kind of those SEC, those southern schools. Whatever way you slice it, it has to seem like USC and Waffle are in a really good shot, or a really good spot, I should say. If they ultimately do not get the commitment, and let's say KJ Ford visits, they don't get the KJ Ford commitment, well, then that was maybe a big swing and a miss. Now, we don't know what came from Henderson's side, how much of this was USC saying we're moving on, was this Henderson saying, hey, never mind. But the fact that Waffle, as of now, is scheduled to visit Texas, Henderson was scheduled to visit USC, Henderson cancels visit with USC, schedules visit same weekend for Texas. There's too many similarities there that have to make me think that things are seemingly well. But if they're not, then USC kind of goes back to the drawing board and has to really find a kind of flip candidate, because those are the kind of the last two they've really honed in on. And you have all season, right? Like, they're at 29 recruits right now. They got 6 spots to fill essentially, potentially another DB, potentially another interior offensive lineman. Still waiting on that receiver, whether it's Boobie Feaster or Jalen Lott. So, they still have about 6 spots to fill. If they were to strike out on this, you have all offseason to potentially get a flip candidate. And you got till December, till signing day. So there's guys that they could absolutely go and try to flip. Still, one of these 3 being one of them. Obviously, there was high interest there. So we'll see how it plays out over the next couple days. But I'll just leave it with this. I feel really strong about Waffle to USC. Obviously, our good friend USC Jay feels strong about it. Obviously, Steve Wiltfong feels strong about it. So we'll see if any other crystal balls end up dropping. I will obviously let you know if anything else I hear that I'm allowed to be reported, but just based on kind of the consensus feeling, based on how well the official visit went, and based on the other underlying factors of other recruits canceling and scheduling to the same spot, it all kind of reads like this is going to end up being a Luke Wafle USC union. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Let's hope. So I'll leave it with this. I am heading out on a cross-country camping road trip. Can't wait, on Wednesday. I'm bringing the mic. We may be hitting some recruiting news in the middle of Yellowstone National Park from a bench with a beautiful backdrop. We'll see if I can get enough service or whatnot. But if you don't hear from me for a few days, obviously if big news breaks, that's unfortunate. But just know I'm out in the middle of nowhere, road tripping with the family, out camping. But I'll try to be back on here as soon as I can, especially with this news ramping up, especially with a 3rd week of official visits this weekend, as the news will be hot and heavy and fast moving with USC recruiting. So thank you, as always, for hanging out with me. I'm Ryan Dyrud. This is the USC LAFB show. As always, fight on.